This video is about Grand Turk Island when we took our cruise on the Carnival Legend in 2022 in April. Our first port of call was at Grand Turk Island. I'm going to give you my impressions of the island and tell you about our experiences there. My name is Eric and I love to cruise. Grand Turk Island is a part of the Turks and Caicos Islands, which are a British sovereign, and Grand Turk Island is where the capital city is, or capital town, of the Turks and Caicos. The town is called Cockburn Town. The island has a population of about 4,800 people. It is 6.9 square miles, and the highest point is at 89 feet above sea level. The island's history was in taking salt out of the ocean, and there were many salt ponds where they would bring the seawater in, allow it to dry, and then take the salt that had come from the water, move it into piles, and then eventually ship it off. When we were planning our trip to the Grand Turk Island, what I did was I went to the website visittci.com, which is Visit Turks and Caicos Islands, and there I was able to learn a lot about what we could do on the island, what there was to see, and some of the things that we planned were to rent a golf cart, which we did, and I was able to do that through the website. We planned to ride the golf cart from the southern end of the island at the cruise terminal to the northern part where the lighthouse is. And then our plan was to come back through the town and check out all the sights there, and then stop at a couple of beaches on our way back to the cruise center. The website was helpful in that it allowed us to visualize what was there on the island, and it gave a very beautiful impression of what our experience would be. Unfortunately, reality was that the island to us was a very depressed area, so that was different from what we discovered on the website. Our cruise ship pulled right up to the dock at the cruise ship terminal, and we were able to walk right off to the island from there. The cruise center was created in 2006 by Carnival Cruise Lines for the specific purpose of their ships coming to Grand Turk Island. When we first arrived and walked through the cruise center, it was very much like Disney World. It was beautiful. There was a fountain, there were the shops, there was Margaritaville, and this was all very lovely. From there we were able to find the rental booth for our golf cart that we had booked online. Once we got our golf cart, we were on our way to our day on Grand Turk Island. And as we headed out of the cruise center, the first interesting thing we noticed were donkeys. Donkeys just wandering around in yards and on the streets. They were everywhere. And as we progressed north, we didn't really know where we were going. We didn't have a specific map, but somebody gave us an idea, pointed us in the right direction, and we were able to explore. We saw some of the government buildings, and as we headed up to the highest areas of the island, there was a bit of a view across what they call North Creek, where the boats used to come in to load up the salt. And then we headed to the lighthouse. The lighthouse was prefabricated in England, and it was built in 1852. And one of the reviews of the lighthouse, the person said, you have to pay $3 per person to get in to tour the grounds of the lighthouse. They said it's not worth the $3. Just go up there and look around outside the fence and then leave. But I decided that I did want to tour the grounds, and we had our $3 for each of us. As we went in, we bought our tickets and were able to walk around the grounds. It was very desert-like. There was some cactus. There were some pavilions. There was a pavilion that used to be a bar. It was the Cliffhanger Bar, which overlooked a cliff there at the lighthouse, but it was not a bar anymore. There was a bar there, but we didn't go to it. There was also a gift shop, which was closed, and there were restrooms, which by the time we arrived at the lighthouse, I figured we needed to use the restrooms, and we did. And they were clean, but very basic. We enjoyed seeing the lighthouse and chatting with the couple of ladies at the entrance gate. And as we were leaving, there were more donkeys, which we enjoyed coming up close to them and talking to them for a minute. On our way up to the lighthouse, we were surprised to find a gate for the local community college. And as we drove by, it looked very plain, almost like Army barracks. It was not a big campus at all. And then we headed back down towards the town. On the east side of the island are a lot of newer homes that I would say folks that are very well-to-do might own or rent out. But as we got back into town, we noticed that the majority of the people living there lived in very humble homes. And it was interesting to see what their town really was like. We saw a hen with her chickens. We saw more donkeys. There were the salt ponds, which they call salinas. We also took a little detour because I wanted to see if we could find more of the salt industry, and we found great big mounds of salt that I guess were left behind when the salt industry ended, which I think was about in the 1950s when the salt industry was over there at Grand Turk Island. I wanted to find the street that was depicted on the website as being white stucco walls and right along the beach. They went through town. It's called Duke Street. I don't think we ever found it. We did find John's Seaside Bar and Grill, but there were a few places there on the beach that looked like it might be lovely to stay there, but there really wasn't like an area that we found that would be touristy, where there would be shops or restaurants and bars. I know on the map you can see that those places exist, but we just couldn't find it. Because I love the beaches, I wanted to find Governor's Beach, which is touted as being one of the most beautiful beaches in the Caribbean, and we did find it. There was a parking area, and when we walked out the beach, somebody wanted to rent us chairs and umbrellas, but we were only going to be there for a few minutes. And we went down to the beach. It was beautiful. The sand was white, and the water was blue, and there were no rocks underwater. It was just sand, and it was a lovely area to swim. I did get in the water for a few minutes and enjoyed it. And it was just a stone's throw from the cruise center beach, and we could see our cruise ship from Governor's Beach. When we arrived back at the cruise center, we turned in our golf cart, which, by the way, I really enjoyed driving the golf cart around the island. Then I wanted to check out the beach there at the cruise center, because that's where they have beach chairs, lounge chairs that are available free of charge to guests on the cruise ships. And it was mobbed, lots of people, but it was fascinating to be there on the beach, and your ship was literally right there. You could have swam out to it. It was so close. That was interesting. If you're going to be on a cruise that goes to Grand Turk Island, my recommendation is don't expect too much. If you just want to be in Disney World, then stay at the cruise center and enjoy the shops and the restaurants and bars there in that area and the beach. If you want to go up to Governor's Beach and have a little more seclusion, you could get a cab. It's not far at all, maybe a mile up to Governor's Beach. It just takes 5 minutes to ride up there. And that would be a lovely place to hang out for the day if you just want to have a quiet beach day. If you want to go into town and explore or go up the lighthouse, you're going to need to hire a cab or rent a vehicle like we did, and just explore on your own. I would say that we were disappointed in that the island was not a beautiful place. We certainly enjoyed getting a flavor of what island life is like for the folks that live there. If you haven't yet watched the video about our cruise on the Carnival Legend, then you could watch it right now.